here just to talk about churches and mission, right? Churches and mission. And maybe you haven't heard about churches and mission or what this is all about. So we wanted to share just a couple minutes about what's going on and what this program, this ministry is all about. So 3-point elevator speech we'll start things off here about churches and mission. Churches and mission is a 15-month commitment that First Presbyterian Church of Flint made way back in April of 2020 under the guidance of Western Theological Seminary in Holland, Michigan. First Pres is one of 7 churches that make a cohort that are working together to hear stories, to share what's going on in their communities around the country. The second point is the purpose of churches and mission is to help us listen, to really listen, not only at what God's Spirit is doing here at First Presbyterian Church in and through and among this congregation, this people, but what the Spirit is doing in the neighborhood around, the walking distance neighborhood, in the people, through the people, among the people, and who live and who work in this walking distance neighborhood around 746 South Saginaw Street in Flint, Michigan. Beautiful Flint, Michigan. Point number 2. Number 3, the hope that churches and mission is all about is that we might as a congregation catch the vision of how God is gifting and working in the neighbors around us, in that community right around this building where we gather and meet, how God might be positioning First Presbyterian Church of Flint to partner, to join in the work that is happening outside the walls of this building, using the gifts that God has gifted us with to bless and for the good of the city, for the good of our neighbors.
I have always believed, in the time that I've been at this church, that we need to do more outside of the walls. We do so much great inside the walls, but we need to take a step through the threshold and get out into our community.
I know that we do several things within our church for the outreach in our community, but I also know that there's so much more that we can partner with out there by sharing stories and listening to other people from our community in which our church sits at 4th and Saginaw. And long ago, the church made a choice to stay here, and for that, we have a purpose and a need and a strong desire with God to serve in the best way that we see fit to do so. When I learned about the churches in mission, it really did align with some of the work that I'm already doing at the church, and I agree with Pete, having thoughts and God speaking to me about doing work outside of the walls of the church just made it even more attractive. But the most important reason is that I really trust and believe in the partners of this team and their hearts and their love for God and their compassion and passion to want to serve others. So I am blessed to be a part of this team.
There's some that are very familiar with some of the things that the church does, and then there's others that aren't familiar at all. So there, like you said, there's still a lot of room to connect in this community, get to know our neighbors better.
Yeah. And one of the things that excited me was it's not just about what our neighbors need and how we might meet a need, but rather how might we get plugged in with what's already going on, right? And so to hear stories that are of what God's already doing, and to know, oh, maybe this is a place God's calling us to participate in as well. This is wonderful. Yeah. We're Churches in Mission, and we're thrilled that First Pres is part of this new ministry that God is doing here, and we invite you, any ideas, any prayers, any thoughts, any dreams, any visions that you see God doing, man, share them with us. Well, share them with Pam and Stacia. They'll take all the information. No, let us know, because we'd love to know the gifts that you see taking place around us and within us and through us that God is doing. So, Churches in Mission. Watch what God does next.